Welcome back to Smoky Ribs. I'm Russ Jones. Today I'm going to be doing a crab and morel stuffed pork loin on a rotisserie on the Weber grill. Going to get started right after this.
If you want to cook backyard barbecue till you get your feel, you come to the right place. Russ Jones Smoky Ribs. Smoky Ribs. Smoky
First thing I got to do in this cook is I've got to reconstitute these morel mushrooms. These are sent to me by a good buddy of mine, Russ Hem. He actually got these mushrooms this year and he dehydrated those for me because I told him I didn't know when I'd be able to do a video with it, but today is the day. So what I'm getting ready to do is take some water, going to bring it to a boil. We're going to pour it over the top of these mushrooms and we're going to reconstitute them for about 30 minutes. All right, so this pork loin, this probably 3-pound pork loin, it's not that big. It came from Matador Prime Steak Company, and it has already been trussed, as you can see. Well, I've got to remove these strings for the mere fact that we are going to fillet this, do a roll cut on it to where we can stuff it. So I'm going to remove all this string, and we're going to do exactly that. Well, to my ultimate surprise, was getting ready to roll this out and fillet it like you would normally do a pork loin, and this has already been cut basically in half. So I'm sitting here wondering, what am I going to do with this? I'm not going to be able to roll cut it now. So I think what I'm going to do is just make an incision here. We're going to butterfly this open. We're going to stuff it. We're going to do the same thing on this end. We're going to place this back on, and then there's something else coming up shortly. I'll show you that when it gets to it, but ultimately it will be wrapped with a twine to hold it all together. I'm thinking that will work. Was not expecting that. So here we go. All right, so my idea here now is to just simply cut a pocket into this. Not all the way. And what I mean by not all the way, not all the way to the ends. We're just going to open this up. Go a little bit deeper with this one. So yep, that's what we'll do. We'll stuff this, put that cap back on there, and that's how we're going to rock. This is the time I want to season this meat before this stuffing goes in here. And what I'm using today is Right Rub. I've never used this. Today is going to be my first time using this. It has a really nice smell, and this is their all-purpose rub. They also have a steak rub that I have used that is absolutely fantastic, as well as a few sauces. I haven't tried the sauces yet. That will be coming up at some other date, but it's definitely coming. So we're not going to put a real heavy coat on this. Just mainly give it some flavor. Give them a flip. We'll season your backside. My water is boiling over here, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of these morel mushrooms. I'm just going to pour these in the pot and let these steep, turn the fire off, let them steep for around 30 minutes. Just added 1/2 of a stick of butter. This is unsalted butter. All right, now into the butter, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. All right, so we're going in with 1 small yellow onion, chopped. And into that, I'm going in about 2/3 of the mushrooms that I ended up with. And like I said, we're just sauteing these. The remainder of the morel mushrooms will be used in a final sauce that we do right here at the end of this video. All right, this would actually be a good time to go ahead and add a little salt. And as I said, that is an unsalted butter. I like to build my seasonings as I go. I always have. Black pepper. So I'm not wanting to brown these or caramelize these onions or mushrooms. I'm strictly sauteing them until tender, and at that point I'm going to add some garlic in here for about the last 30 seconds. Now I've got about 6 cloves of garlic that I've chopped up, minced. And like I said, no more than 30 seconds to 45 seconds. You don't want to brown them. Just let them do their thing. All right, what you're looking at is a tub. This is 1 pound of fresh Gulf Coast lump blue crab meat. And I'm not putting all of that in here. My initial plans was to use all of this if I would have been able to roll that loin out, but it's just not going to take it all, so there's no sense in wasting it. We'll make crab patties out of the remainder. Just a little bit more here. I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. So yeah, we got enough left to make about 4 crab patties with. This crab meat is already cooked. They when they process this, I don't know their exact way of doing it, but they do cook the crab so they can pick the crab, but it's never been seasoned. So with that said, we're going in with a little bit more salt. A little bit more black pepper. Now I've got some shaved Parmesan. We're going to go in somewhere around 1/4 cup. Not measuring any of this, just use your eyeball. This is really going to give it a unique flavor as well. I love fresh Parmesan. All right, now I'm going to add in the final ingredient. That's about 1/2 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. This is just going to act as a binder to pull it all together. Plus it has the Italian seasonings already in the breadcrumbs. And I can see we need more. Let's hold that right there. That's probably going to do us good. So I think we ended up with more stuffing than what I can use on this particular loin, but normally this would be about right. By the time you spread it across and roll it up, this would be about what you're looking for. But we'll see how far it goes. Let's stuff them and see how it turns out. I know one thing. This is going to be good. I can just tell before we even get close, man. So I'm ending up using about half of the stuffing that I made here. It's kind of disappointing, but it is a small pork loin. You can get these bigger, then you would be able to utilize all that. Like I said, just roll it out, fillet it in a roll cut fashion, and you'll be fine. But it's going to be delicious either way. Now quickly, without losing all of this stuffing, I'm going to we're going to place this cap on just like this. Let me move this back. I'll be right back with the next step. All right, so what you're looking at is what is called Caul Fat. This comes from pork. Every animal has this. Matter of fact, even humans have this. This is typically what's in front of your belly, like beer belly and stuff like that. This actually lays in front of the stomach and into the digestive tract, but it has absolutely no flavor of its own, no smell, anything like that. It's not part of the digestive tract. It simply lays in front of it. And this is also referred to as like a lace fat, but Caul, C-A-U-L, fat, and it's a little hard to source. I had to actually buy 10 pounds of this stuff, and I did not need near about 10 pounds. Now what I've done is I soaked it overnight in a salt water solution to help draw out some of the pinkish color, and there's still a little bit there, but for the most part we're white. Now what this does is, for a lean cut such as this loin, it gives it added fat. This stuff will begin to render, and I will be doing this on the rotisserie, so it's going to be self-basting. There is some fat already on the loin, but this is going to add even more. It's really good like on deer roast and things like that, where you need that added moisture. And also this is used in like sausage making. Not sure exactly how they do that, but I've seen it. There's a lot of uses for it, but we're going to place this here. We're just going to stretch this over. Then we're going to stretch this like so. And I'm obviously going to have to trim some of this off. So we'll start with that. We'll come around. And I will trim it here. And I will trim it here. So what I did with that 10 pounds is I took and I put like 2 of these in each vacuum bag. And I pulled a vacuum and I put them in the freezer. It's supposed to last a good long time in the freezer. So I've got to figure out other ways of using this. And you can wrap meatloaf with it. You can wrap hamburgers with it. You can wrap anything with it, but a lean meat for sure. So for all you hunters out there that's got your wild boar, your wild deer, get you some Caul Fat. All right, so I'm going to flip this. We're going to give this a good stretch. Now from here, we're going to take our butcher's twine and we're going to tie this back together. Make you about four or five loops through here. That way when you pull it, it stays and allows you to put your final cinch on there. Cut the excess off on this one. All right, so we go on down, and there again, put you about 4 wraps, 3 or 4 wraps. That way when you pull it, it stays till you can get that last knot tied, just like so. Cut, cut. You could also truss this as well. I've done that in the past. Got some videos showing how to do that. So I'm not going to bore you with this. We're just going to keep working it down until we get it done. All right, so I've got my skewer here that we're going to shove all the way through this pork loin. So I'm going to try to hit dead center as much as I can. This thing was not sliced at dead center. So let's see here. Oh yeah. So that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go out there and get some charcoal fired up. We're gonna get this pit up to temperature. Then I'm gonna take and place this on the rotisserie and we're just simply gonna let it cook. Oh, but hang on. Let me introduce you the meter. You've already seen me use the meter in lots of videos. This is the Meter Plus. The exact same meter is what I currently have, except for the fact this has an extended range now of 165 feet. So they have improved on that. And that's basically the only difference. Uses the same phone app. And this is perfect, ideal for a rotisserie. You won't use a thermometer on a rotisserie any other way. It's completely wireless. And not only will it monitor the surrounding temperature as this spins, but it's going to be monitoring the internal temperature as well. So we're going dead center here. And about right there. I don't want to hit my metal bar in there. It's going to give me a false reading. So we're just going to kind of go in from the side here. There's a little mark that you're supposed to line up to, and I think we're on it right there. So we're ready. I did not fill this charcoal pan or this slow and sear all the way up. I've just got a layer in the bottom, and I've done that as fire management, because if I'd had a full basket, I would overshot my pit temperature way more than what I needed. Everything's looking good. I'm just gonna sit here and monitor this cook, and when we're getting close, I'll bring you back. And I'm gonna show you also how that caul fat just dissolves away, and like I said, it creates like a self-basting effect on this pork loin along with the fat that's already attached to it. One more shot of it. That's looking really good. All right, so we're 116 internal, shooting for 145. I'm actually going to pull it about 142 because of carryover. My pit, I just took the lid off. It was running about 230 degrees. It's coming back up. It's showing about 32 more minutes cook time, and everything is looking good. So next time you see me, I'll be pulling this off, and we'll do a wrap, and let it rest. Look at the juice still trying to come out of this thing. We're going to slide our spit out of there. Just a simple wrap, and all this as far as just to let it rest. I'm going to put this in the oven. The oven is off. It's just a nice place for air conditioner and things like that. It's not going to affect it, and we're going to do that right now. Now let's make a gravy. All right, I'm heating up 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted butter, and I've also got 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Now this is the morel mushrooms that are reserved just for this. We're going to saute these for a few minutes. Now I've got 2 cloves of garlic going in, freshly chopped. A little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt. Okay, garlic is just now starting to get a little color, which we don't want too much color because you know what happens, it becomes bitter. So into this, I'm adding in 1/4 cup of a Pinot Grigio white wine. So you want to cook this wine until it's just about evaporated. All you're trying to capture really is just the essence of it. When it's paired with the other flavors in this, it's really going to be good. So I think for the most part our wine is gone. I think what you're seeing here is the oil and the butter, maybe a little bit of remnants of the wine. Adding in 1/4 cup of chicken broth. Going to bring my heat up just a tad. Now we're going to add in 1 whole cup of heavy whipping cream. All right, we're not back to a simmer yet, but I am going to go ahead and add in about 1/2 cup of this Parmesan cheese. This is that shaved Parmesan, fresh. We're going to hold right there. All right, I'm going to reduce my heat real low since we're now at a simmer. We're going to give this a good stir. We just want to let this reduce to the thickness we like. And what I'm going to add in now is just some fresh thyme leaves for a little added flavor. Okay, that should be enough thyme. I think I've lost my simmer. Let me bring this up just a little. I'm going to add a couple splashes of Worcestershire sauce for the flavor and also the coloring. We're wanting to darken this up just a little. All right, so I've reduced quite a bit. Still looks a little thin, but keep in mind it's hot. Once it cools off a little, it's going to add a little bit more body to this. And it's not going to be a real thick sauce to begin with. You could always thicken it with some cornstarch if you choose to do that. I choose not to do that on this particular cook. So we're going to live with that right there. And I'm going to take and cut right down the center first. So what we got there. Oh yeah, nice and moist. That's looking great. Now we're going to cut beside this string here. Now keep in mind, this loin was already sliced into 2 pieces, so once we remove this string, this is probably going to separate into 2 pieces. But it's just us, and we know to tell people to take the string off before you eat it. So there you go. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick taste test for y'all. I'm going to taste it without the gravy and then with the gravy. And of course, we want to try some of this stuffing that's in the middle. So there's me a nice piece right there. Oh man, that has got some outstanding flavor. The pork is just very tender, very juicy. This is absolutely delicious. That crab and that morel mushroom pair so well together. I knew that already because I took some of that leftover stuffing earlier and just ate it with a spoon. Man, that's good. All right, so I'm just going to take and spoon some of this sauce over the top of this, and that's the consistency right there. It's not super thick and it's not super thin. It's got some more of those morel mushrooms in it, so that should really elevate it. So you know, we're doing broccoli, we're doing cauliflower, we're doing mashed potatoes, and we're doing Texas garlic toast with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a taste test on this. Then we're gonna finish preparing the rest of this meal off camera. Oh man, fantastic flavors. The morel pairs so well with the blue crab, and of all things, it pairs well with pork. And I kind of dreamed this up in my head, and I got to looking. There is a crab stuffed morel. There's recipes all over the internet, and I found that after the fact. You know, just kind of wanting to know if those two would pair, and in fact they do. The flavor is just outstanding. I want to thank Russ Helm again for sending out those morels. First time of me ever having those, and I would love to have them again at some point. Very earthy flavor, paired so well with the pork and the crab. The gravy, that was just icing on the cake. Absolutely fantastic. It was taking on the flavor of the morels with that cream sauce. Outstanding. If you noticed, I did not use any smoke in the charcoal. I wanted to preserve the flavor of the crab and all without, to me, smoke and crab just don't pair very well. Never has. Crab is a very delicate flavor, and the mushrooms, like I said, paired so well with it, and pork in itself is not a very strong taste, but it does pair well with smoke. But I just want to stay away from smoke and let that natural flavor of the charcoal, which is a very good charcoal, do its thing on this, and it did. Turned out fantastic. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you give it a try sometime. Until next time, smoke your ribs.